She sauntered into a sushi bar and plopped herself into the nearest seat, coincidentally in front of a young businessman. He wore your typical businessman get-up, plain blue tie and suit, white shirt with large sweat patches. He had his jacket off, and he carefully placed it beside him. He was young, there was no doubt about it, but his hands looked old, covered in faint scars and lines. They were wrinkled, and so was his face. He didn't need to frown for the girl to see his forehead lines.
There is something oddly pleasing
Even
about
underneath his
American
clear, hypnotic eyes lay dark
There
black
is something
bags.
oddly
He must have been in his late 20s, but from his physical appearance, he
There is
could be
something oddly pleasing
40.
An American man in tight.
The girl pierced her lips as if she
There
was
is
going to say something.
oddly pleasing about an American
The man adjacent to her did the same, but after a prolonged silence, they both released their hands. It was as if both the man and the girl had caught each other off guard to an uncannily
There is
equal
something
level.
oddly pleasing about
The man,
an
however,
American
tried to shake it off. He picked up his chopsticks and snapped
There is something
them between his
oddly pleasing
salmon,
about
slowly
an
plopping it
American
into his mouth whilst attempting
washed.
to look at the girl directly
There is
in the eyes.
something oddly pleasing about an American.
Are you a cool girl? He finally plucked up the courage to say something.
There is something
girl had
oddly
not.
pleasing about an American man in tight.
The girl had
washed
not,
denim.
and instead looked at the
Not
businessman
talking
in
about
disgust,
something sexual.
shuffled left and right, and then placed both of
Sure,
her hands on
stare
the
at
table
his
and
ass.
fiddled with a lighter.
I can see the denim
She stuffed
curving
out.
around his buttocks. The faded
You're too pretty to be a
jeans.
cool girl.
It's oddly comforting.
You're too pretty to be a.
It's not.
You're too pretty. You are too pretty to be a real girl. He
It
continued
doesn't
now
arouse
with a
me.
fresh salmon
It
roll
comforts
poised
me.
at
It
his
makes me feel at
lips.
home. It's hearing
chewed.
him talk and
She
seeing
blushed.
those denim jeans.
If you're a cool girl, it's going to be a no for me.
The contours of his legs.
I've used them before, but I feel almost ashamed, he said,
It's oddly comforting.
unconsciously grabbing
It's oddly there's
his last
there's
roll
something
and
oddly
then
comforting about an American man in tight,
didn't realize.
washed.
You want one? He abruptly shouted, thrusting the roll and chopsticks in her face, but the offer was just met with
The cut of the
silence.
stone wash. It's
I suppose you don't,
worn over
businessman,
years, and at his
then
buttocks
shoved the
there's
roll
this
in his
kind of
mouth
white
and
patch.
persisted his
He's
loud
sat
chomping.
down, he's got
Colco's gotta keep slim.
his weight,
Don't wanna get
his
fat,
specific
do we?
weight over years
The
and
girl
years
once
of
again
wear.
shuffled in her seat and looked at the man in disgust. Personally, I
The
like
fact
women
that
with
his
meat on
American
their bones.
accent is
He
so
looked down at his
strong
plate
and so
and expected to find more
There's no way that
sushi,
he's
but
lived
just
anywhere else in the
a
world.
look of sadness was painted on his face.
And then he moves the way he moves his hands. He talks.
But
it's very.
What's more important is up here.
And his legs, they're
He used one of his
long,
chopsticks to
the
point to his
jeans,
head,
they're washed,
more specifically his
buttocks,
temple, just above
the
his
jeans
thick
are around his
glasses.
buttocks. And there is
Do you know
just
what I mean?
something oddly pleasing about an American
The girl
man
nodded in agreement,
tight,
then went back to playing
washed
with her
denim.
lighter.
There is
The man
something oddly pleasing about an
precariously placed his
American
chopsticks on
man
the
in
side of his
tight,
plate and
washed
gulped down the
denim.
last of his own cold
There is
green tea.
something oddly
Right. I'm
pleasing
leaving.
about an American man in
He
tight,
started
washed
and
denim.
he stared at the girl.
There is something oddly pleasing
stared at the
about an
girl's face
American
for
man in tight, washed
confirmation.
denim.
To what he saw, she just stayed blank-faced. Are you
It's-
attempting to
it's
entice
nothing
her? She blinked,
sexual.
turned her head to look out the door, and then grabbed her
It's
coat and jumped
just-
out of her feet.
It's
They
just
exited
oddly
the sushi bar,
pleasing,
meandered out to the
oddly
brisk green
comforting.
streets. Neon signs and billboards illuminated their faces in various shades of red and blue. It was raining,
American man.
but not much, however. The businessman was always cautious. He slipped his windbreaker on. The girl, however, loved the rain. She embraced it. They walked down the dirty, bright streets in silence. The man had a plain look of determination on his face. The girl continuously looked up at him like a child to her mother or a dog. The man stopped in his tracks. He thrust his hands into his pockets and examined multiple objects in his pockets. He then took a large key card out of his pocket and stared at it, then signaled to the door to the left of him. "This is where I work. I'm on a midnight shift. No one else is here. Come in if you wish." And abruptly, without waving, he used the key card and stormed into the building, scaling steps before the girl could even make a decision. However, she made her mind up and quickly followed. The stairs were concrete. They were the kind of stairs you would find in an emergency exit. They were simply too well designed for them. The girl grew tired of walking up so many steps, but the man enjoyed it like it was some chance of exercise. It was like the only chance of exercise you could get. They continued on and on for what felt like 20 hours until the steps finished abruptly in a large steel door. Only a few centimeters separated the steps with the door. The businessman twisted the handle and with some effort thrusted the door upwards to reveal a large carpeted room. The room was rectangular with a low office-like ceiling, but the oddest thing about the room is that it ceased to have any more than one desk and a chair in it. All but one of these combos stood directly in the center of the room, facing no particular direction. In front, now that I think of it, the room did not have any windows. The girl thought as she reminded. In fact, now that I think of it, the room did not have any windows either. The girl thought as she reminisced of this encounter with the businessman. No windows, just carpet, horrible fluorescent lights, and a desk and a chair. On top of the desk lay several neatly sharpened pencils and a large stack of papers. The girl was on guard, but also bewildered. She thought of asking the man what he did, but she felt her prolonged silence was biting well for her. The businessman stretched, let out a groan, and meandered to the center of the room towards a desk and chair. He took off his jacket and blazer and gently placed them on the back of his chair. He then sat down, licked the tip of his finger to turn a piece of paper from the pile, and selected one of the identically sharpened pencils. "And then it's Wednesday again," he said with a smirk on his face. But the statement in fact was untrue. The day was not Wednesday at all, or Tuesday or Monday for that matter. The day was a day all but a break in space and he said with a smirk on his face. But the statement was untrue. The day was not Wednesday at all, Tuesday or Thursday for that matter. The day was a day that all time and space stood still. The day was a day that the businessman and the girl were trapped. So today, theoretically, was not.